how we're going to start it right now is I'm gonna go to Steve first. You with me, Steve?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. So, Steve, you know what I kind of wanted to ask you is, like, as far as the process of reopening has gone, could you tell me a little bit about your experiences? And also, as part of it, could you tell me about the communication that y'all have had with the groups and, you know, how that's been panning out over time?
Absolutely.
All right,
Steve
thanks,
coming at it. So first of all, thank you, Mike and WQANA and the committee for inviting me to share my experience, strength, and hope. It's always an honor and privilege. As Mike mentioned, I'm the RDA for Northern New Jersey region. Northern New Jersey region has 11 areas, and I lose track of how many meetings. As it stands right now, we have probably about 15 or 16 groups that are open and meeting either indoors or outdoors. Probably about 5, 6 of them are meeting indoors, and the balance are meeting outdoors. We have meetings every night of the week. Many of the meetings have multiple meetings. You know, there's a couple of them that meet every night. So we cover the full range. Most of them meet in parks, parking lots, things along those lines. Some of them are brand new meetings. Some of them are existing meetings that are now open, that have now reopened. So some of them belong to areas. Some of them have since joined areas. Some of them are independent meetings that are just, you know, as the literature says, 2 addicts meeting regularly at a set date and time for the purposes of recovery with no other affiliation. So they're groups just like every other group. When you start talking about traditions, the other tradition I want to remind people of is the first tradition, because if we had a big issue in my region, there were a lot of people that were upset when we had to close down and didn't want to close down, so they held off until the very last minute, or maybe even after the last minute. So when they started to have the opportunity to open up, a lot of people were very excited. There were a lot of nerves going on because, as you pointed out, the last thing we want to do is wind up on the 6 o'clock news. If we're on the 6 o'clock news, then those addicts are still doing that same thing that they always did, and that's the last thing that we want on any level in any way. The other thing we have, and I don't know if any of your areas are like that, but there are a lot of people that at the group level that get upset when area or region comes down and tells them what to do. And, you know, one of the things that we had to caution everybody was, this isn't region or area telling you what to do. This is, region has experience in this, region has people with experience, and can we help you? And maybe we should start a conversation. So the way that we approached it was, I tell you, that tone is going to kill me. So the way that we approached it is, we started a conversation, we shared our experience, strength, and hope with them, and we reminded the groups on a continuing basis that they're autonomous and that we are a resource for them, whether we were the region helping the area or the area helping the group. We were adamant about, this is not area telling you what to do or how to do it. This is area helping you and asking you to use your best judgment as you go forward. And we found in our experience, if we reminded people of this in advance and we gave them talking points to think about, they would have business meetings, they would discuss this at length, and they would, with their group conscience intact, they would come up with the best solution for them. And we have not had any problems with it. We haven't appeared on the news. We've been fairly successful in a lot of places. So that was the preliminary work. The actual opening of the meetings, we weren't sure how big the meetings were going to be, and when we started opening them up, the number of people that could meet was small. Inside it was, I want to say 10 people. Outside, it was 25. And the first question that anybody asked is, what do you do when number 26 shows up? Because the third tradition says we can't turn people away. So how do we handle it when 26 shows up? So what we chose to do was we elected trusted servants. You know, you have your trusted servants already, but we had alternate trusted servants. And we had a big enough space. We looked specifically for spaces that were big enough to accommodate lots of people that were socially distanced. And so what we did, and we didn't have this experience at the time, and since then it's grown, because now a lot of our meetings have 40, 50 people. My Thursday night meeting that started up as a new meeting has regularly 45 to 50 people show up. It's in the middle of a ball field, and it's isolated from everybody, so there isn't a problem. But what they did was they set up and they prepared 4 sets of trusted servants. And when the 26th person showed up, they split up into 2 meetings. And when 51 shows up, they split up into a 3rd meeting. And when 76 shows up, they split up into a 4th meeting. And they had the space to accommodate. They didn't need to, but that's what they were prepared for. So what we expect, because we expect that the first meeting they show up, 200 people are going to bum rush this meeting, and we're going to have to try and figure out what to do. That wasn't our experience. The first couple of meetings were small, and now they've been growing. And now they're incredibly successful, and things are working out well. The next thing that we did was we contacted facilities that had legal departments, and we talked to them about their legal department, what was their ramifications, what wasn't. It was our understanding, and it still is, if you're a member of an area, the area has insurance that will cover you. If you're not a member of an area, then you have no insurance. But newsflash, insurance has only been around for the last couple of years. We've had a fellowship a lot longer. So people that don't have insurance, it didn't really seem to be that big a deal for them. The other thing we did was we contacted law enforcement, and we asked them what's their interpretation of the law at whatever time we were talking. So when we were first opening up, how do we handle a meeting of 25 people? Well, you know, we're not really looking to harass. If you don't have problems, we're okay. Okay, so if we did have 26 and we needed to split up into 2 groups, how far apart would we have to be? And they gave us general guidance. Nobody wanted to go on the record, but they said if it appears to be 2 separate groups, then you should be okay. If it looks like it's just one stretched out group and people are complaining, you're going to have a problem. So that's, I think, the bulk of how we handled most of our things. Let me see what else. I think that was most of it. It was lots of trusted servants. Make sure. And we wrote into our policies. We remind people not to share food. We don't have refreshments. We remind them to wear their masks. We remind them to social distance. We work with the facilities. There was New England region. New England region had Paul. Central Ohio, I forgot their name, but the 2 of them had great checklists. So we used those checklists as a starter to talk about, and I don't want to take whoever the next person to talk, but we talked about and we made sure we designated people that were responsible for cleaning up before time, cleaning up after, make sure that we have this covered, you know, work with the facility. We dragged PR into the middle of all of this. We made sure that PR knew what was going on. PR made themselves available. If you have a relationship with the church and you want to restart, that's fine. If you don't have a relationship, if you need to restart the relationship, whatever, PR will be there shoulder to shoulder with you. And people that had done PR years before and may or may not have been involved in PR currently volunteer to step onto Zoom meetings and help out with it as well. I think that's most of it.